Wow. Well, Tara, it is so fun to be with you today because we have had a long road together. We've known each other for, gosh, about 8 years, maybe a little bit longer. Um, you came with us to South Africa to help us get settled in, and we got to know each other very, very well at that time when you were staying with our family. And then you headed back to the U.S. and carried on with your professional life. And then I came back to the States, and you and I started working together again because you're so fabulous and you're such an absolute boon to me and the business. And I'm so grateful to have you on board with us. And I never expected you to take the lifestyle on the way you have. And it's been such a joy to watch your transfiguration and experience your joy in the process. And I know you have a lot to say about it. And this is all I want to just tell everybody, that even though Tara and I know each other a long time and she works with the company, this is all just from the heart. This is just her journey. This was not prompted in any way. She wanted to do this, and we created the opportunity for her to tell her story and her journey only up until now. I mean, it's just the beginning really for you in the whole process. So it's a wonderful opportunity for us too to follow your progress and process over the course of the following months and of course years, because this is a lifestyle and a lifelong way of living. But okay, so with all that said, Tara, I pass over to you. Tell everyone who's listening about your health and the history of your life, where you come from, what's led you to want to partake of the knowledge and the application of the knowledge of this work. I hand it over to you.
So yeah, thank you for that, Natalia. Wow, I'm just so grateful to be here with you. So grateful to be at this point in my journey. About 2 years ago, I heard a calling, and it was pretty intense because I felt like I was going to depression. And the calling told me, this is a butterfly, you're going to go through a transformation. And that's when you came back from Africa. So let me just rewind a little bit. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. I am Latina. My father is Puerto Rican. My mother is Dominican. And I have one brother. And since we were young, we traveled all over the place. I was born in Brooklyn, but I lived in Alaska, California, Florida, Dominican Republic. So I've always been a traveling, this type of adventurous type of lifestyle. I like to say yes to things because it just, I don't know, I guess from my background. And at the time that I met you, I was going to college. I was studying writing and doing my associates. And I had met you during Thanksgiving, and we were about to go on break for about a month. So it was just all we always say it's serendipitous, the way that our energies kind of collide. And, you had asked me to go with you guys to South Africa for the move. And in that, I first of all, I had never heard of you at the time. I didn't know the goal that I had in front of me. And I always tell you that because I just now it's hitting me how much you have transformed my life. Your work is so fabulous. And I know that it has transformed other people's lives. And I'm just so happy to be in that box, in that crayon box. Well, we don't really like boxes, but if one had to be in a box, I'm happy to be in this box. So I spent a few months with you, and I had the most wildest dreams. I was more in touch with my spiritual connection. I found a lot of clarity, and it all started with what I put in my body, which is like, it's so simple, right? Like, if people knew what they put in their body affects how they walk in this earth, how their antennas can be used for clarity, it would just be, I'm just hoping that we can reach out to those people through your work, Natalia, because it is transformative. I've lost 80 pounds since October 2021 till now. What are we, in July 2022, with your work, Natalia? And I've seen other people transform in this this work. So I'm 33 years old. I have people that come into my life now and they're like, wow, you look younger for some reason. Why is your skin so shiny? I have no makeup on, guys. I have no makeup on. My hair is longer than it's ever been in my entire life. And yeah, this has definitely changed my life. I'm trying to remember, I'm trying to backtrack a little bit to now, right? Because when I left Africa, I held on to those principles that you gave me. Um, but things started to slowly creep back in. The community, the culture that I'm from, the lifestyle here is very fast food, easy to go, and it's funny because when I came back, I ate a piece of a Big Mac and I was sick for a week. I was sick like a dog for a week. So I was like, I'm never going to do that again. Over time, I mean, we've known each other 8 years, right? Over time, it crept back into my life. My husband was big on Taco Bell, and now it's just completely flipped the switch. I have to say that I wouldn't have been able to do it with the support in because it's really hard to do this type of lifestyle if you don't have people supporting you. And if you can do it without the support, man, kudos to you, because once you get past that, what's 3 weeks of eating raw and doing colonics and colon hydrotherapy, once you create it, make it a routine in your life, then you really see how it can benefit your life. But I know the first few weeks, it's like, oh, I have to eat vegetables and all this stuff. But I mean, I'll tell you now, that's all I want because it makes me feel amazing. So, so yeah, there's so much to say. I've learned a lot of discipline in my life where I didn't have that before with my parents. It was a lot of chaos, fighting, divorce, poverty, and a lot of emotional imbalance. And I've been able to see that my emotions are more stable now. I'm able to think before I do things. I'm able to take my time and really say, okay, am I going to be in my power with this, or am I giving my power away? That's the biggest thing in the world to me now. Like, I don't want to give my power away to anything that's not going to bring me to my most sovereign self, or that's going to be better for my higher self in the future, now, present, whatever. So yeah, so that's been amazing. And then also seeing the people around me that have slowly been kind of like following my little baby crumb footsteps that I've left behind, seeing their transformation. So I just know that this really works. It really works, guys. I love you.
I love you too, Tara. You've done so well. And what I love about how you've put it all together is you've seen the big picture. You've integrated the self-discipline, the values, the all that is required to transform not just the physical body, but the emotional, the heart, the mind, the mentality, the energy field, your spirit has transformed because of it too. You always have this very very big spirit. You have a huge soul, and you've been able to harness that energy and make it focus it in a way that's really served you well and has given you order and purpose and balance. It has brought a sense of real focus to your life. You've built your own home infrared sauna. You've been using the Enlightener. Do you want to speak a little bit about the aspect of colon cleansing as it relates to this lifestyle? How you've personally maybe first share how your body's responded and the results that have come with that, and then maybe share with us a little bit about what that's meant to your sphere of influence.
Yeah. So, okay. So colon cleansing, I mean, it's been around since beyond, right? The Egyptians, right? But in my world, it's just been around for the last 8 years, right? Since you've come into my existence. And now it's in my husband's world, and now it's in my mother-in-law's world. And so it's starting to hit. And I would never, I have to say, there was a story when my uncle passed away, and he had 80% of his colon was gone. And I knew right then and there, I mean, at the time he was living, I knew right then and there he wouldn't make it, because the colon is what cleans everything. It cleans all your organs. It gives you that clarity. Like, it is your dishwasher. And so the green juice is what washes it, and the colonics is what helps release all the old waste. So we have to help our bodies to be at its highest self, to have that clarity of mind, to connect emotionally and not be overly emotional. And so with colon cleansing, it has given me that peace of mind. And I don't have to drink so much water because it goes straight to the source. I think that's pretty cool. So I try to colon cleanse as much as I can. I use my Enlightener every 2 days. The more and more I use it, the more and more I'm using it more on a daily.
Did you notice a difference in terms of how your body responded to the dietetics and the green juice and all that before you started colon cleansing versus after?
Okay, so before I started colon cleansing, I was taking a lot of green juice in. And what I've noticed with the colon cleansing is I have a lot more energy. I'm more creative. And with with the colon cleansing, I just feel hydrated. I feel like lubricated. I feel ready to go with my day. So it really has brought me a lot of clarity. And learning and being able to listen to my body and be like, okay, I'm ready. Like, I have toxins and I'm ready to release them. And then afterwards feeling full of energy and full of creativity, to do the things in my life that are important.
In terms of the weight loss, when did that really take root, and when did you notice that the weight was coming off more rapidly?
As soon as I started, so I prepped myself. I think I did like a week of green juice before I started doing my enemas and my colonics. And then
When
as
you
soon
say,
as,
when you say a week of green juice, you don't mean exclusively. You mean you were just including green juice in
right,
your regular diet. Okay. And
right.
your regular diet, how did that change? What were you? I mean, you mentioned before you were eating a lot of, there was fast food, there were other things, but do you want to maybe share a little picture of what your diet was before and what it became?
Being Hispanic, there's lots of rice and beans, there's lots of steak and chicken. And I always had like some sort of vegetables, because, living with you, I saw amazing, I saw the dietetics, and it made me feel amazing. But yeah, I've always incorporated vegetables in my meals. But I think that now, well, after going through this process, I've definitely eliminated a lot of meats or dense foods, because I know it takes a lot of energy to digest and to break down. And I want to conserve my energy for more spiritual aspects, for my daily life and building my career, just for my life in general, for my soul in general. I don't find that those dense foods bring me any joy. So, I love the way I'm eating now, salad based and green juice, to help me awaken any toxins or anything inside my body. So I think the more and more I do it, the more and more clarity I have. So the more and more I stay on this path of raw food dietetics and colonics, the more and more I'm seeing that the forest is getting clearer in the mud. And it's just, I'm having a lot more clarity in my life.
I know you do lots of raw salads and you do lots of green juices, but that's not all you eat.
No.
Do you want to share a little bit about the bigger picture of what the transition looked like, and what you consume now and how you make it, how you've come to really enjoy it so much?
I would say through time, through baby steps, I've gotten to this point now where I don't want to put anything into my body that's going to create a low vibration or low energy. And that's denser foods. But it did take time to get to this point. And support also. I'm married, so it was nice that I could be able to make, more green vegetable based foods for my husband. I didn't have to make him steak. So it was nice. It was nice I had that support, to stay on this path.
Really, it was really keen to do what you were doing and be kind of in lockstep with you, which is really special. You had that kind of alliance. When people hear salads, raw salads, they think it's extremely boring and very like not tasty. So I just want to you're imagining in your head what you've come to love, and
Right.
people can't see your mind and your plate without you describing it to them. So maybe if you can share a little bit, because again, it's not about being perfect and eating raw foods. It's about how much waste we remove, and that's what sets this whole the what I put out there apart from pretty much everything else. Because most people are overly consumed, to be, forgive the pun or allow the pun, with what they're eating, as opposed to with what they're releasing, what they're removing from the body. So we're eating in such a way that we're awakening waste for the release. So the release is equally important. It's actually the most important thing. Otherwise, it's actually not cleansing. So, but we don't need to eat exclusively awakening substances in order to have that result. Because if we did that, we would have too much waste to remove that we couldn't even keep up with it. So you understood that and you applied that transition. And so what I really love you to share with people is what those transition substances were and are, and how you make this work for you in such a way that you truly enjoy it, because I know you do.
Yeah. So, and it's interesting because now I always bring salads with me when I go to his parents' house or to any event, and people are like, wow, this is the best salad I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm like, it's all about food combining, guys. And how you put everything together and the way that you do it with so much love and care. And I literally go to Trader Joe's and I'll grab a bag of arugula, and then I'll grab a mixed bag of like cabbage and carrots, and I'll mix them together. And sometimes I'll peel carrots or cucumbers. I like capers, so I put capers in my salad and olives. And then depending on what I'm eating, I'll put goat cheese in my salad. If I'm gonna have maybe a piece of fish, because I do like to eat fish maybe once or twice a week, I won't put goat cheese in my salad. But just lemon and garlic. I mean, I I don't really do too much oils, but lemon and garlic is just like the best salad dressing ever. And then I'll make some garlic and broccoli steamed on the side. And then that will be my dinner. And I'm totally full and fulfilled. Yeah.
So, you're having some cooked food, you're having a little bit of animal products. You're not. So when people hear I'm just eating salads, for them, they're like, oh, wait, I couldn't do that. But if they're seeing like there's a beautiful piece of fish and deliciously prepared cooked vegetables, along with raw vegetables and a delicious salad, a delicious salad dressing concoction, then, suddenly they can start thinking, well, maybe I could do that. And actually, I agree with you. Raw garlic in salad is just like, but you both, like you and your husband, both have to be eating it. So if you're a couple and you're going to be potentially getting close later, maybe you just want to make sure you're both having that garlic in there. But that's great. Anything else that you find gets you, it makes it see, like for me, the dark chocolate and the goat cheese and, the organic wine now and then, that's given me the chance to go 22 years as opposed to 22 hours, So if you really want to go the long haul, those of us who go that far, we pepper it with things that make us happy, that, and we choose what those things are, because we can't have, all of them. For some people, it's going to be, something else. But so maybe what is it for you that's enabling you to get through this? It's maybe having the fish, having the cooked vegetables, anything else that you do that's maybe not a raw vegetable?
Yeah, I definitely do the dark chocolate and cheese. I try not to do it so much, but I do love my dark chocolate and goat cheese. And so does my husband Carlos, which was like, I think in the beginning it was trying to get used to that hard, like kind of like that deep dark chocolate flavor. But paired that with maybe some beets and goat cheese and some wine, and it's just like a great combination. So it really is how you're combining your food, how you're enjoying it. If you're relaxed, you have to be relaxed enjoying your food.
Those cooked beets, actually, I call them the other red meat. You know how they call pork the other white meat?
Okay.
Well, we don't want to talk about pork, but I like to call beets the other red meat, because they're meaty. When they're cooked properly, they're meaty, they're delicious. And we don't have to add anything to them. We put them in the salad, and combined with the goat cheese, they're like super indulgent and rich and so satisfying. But when you talk about the capers, the olives, the cooked beets, the cooked vegetables, the fish, the goat cheese, the dark chocolate, you know, you're creating now a picture of something that's not a salad, you know, which is good. We want to understand that there is a transition here. You know, when people have been eating a mainstream diet, if you're talking about going from Taco Bell to eating arugula and cabbage, you're going to have a problem. You're going to actually wind up awakening things way too quickly. So it's not about sort of, you know, being so raw, like you want to be RAH, we want to say, hang on a second. This took years for all this stuff to accumulate in the body. We have to gently, carefully, thoughtfully, and strategically bring it out of the cells and tissues and show at the door as efficiently as possible. That is success. To haphazardly awaken waste and say, well, if a little arugula and a little bit, if dark leafy greens are good, then the more the better. That's a mistake. That's when people get themselves in trouble, and they get into a mindset that's completely false. We want to awaken just enough that we can release. And if we awaken more than we can release, we have a problem. If we don't awaken enough, then we haven't really done anything. So the reason you've been so successful, lost 80 pounds in this amount of time and kept it off, and have every, you know, there's every reason for you to only upgrade your body more and more now. Whether or not that means losing more weight, it means that your cells are going to reach a higher and higher level of integrity. There's no question that you're not turning back on this path. You're on this path. You love it. There's nothing that could take you back to what you were doing before, but that's because you did it so smartly. You did it with the expertise of all of these years, and the knowledge that's been handed to you, and you didn't, you know, you worked it, and obviously it's worked for you. But that's one of the things that I really want people to hear. Often people will tell me, "Oh, I've read all your books and I've done, you know, I do the lifestyle." And little by little, you hear actually they don't, because they don't want a colon cleanse, or there's something that they don't do. They don't, not having a daily green juice, or even an every other day green juice. It's like they're like, "Oh, well, it's the juicing's a little complicated, and I'm really not ready for colonics yet." Well, then you're not doing it. You're the proof in the pudding, because you're doing it all. You didn't take one big chunk of it and say, well, I'm going to do everything except this. And that's really important for people to hear and appreciate. It's, if you're not doing it all, you're actually not doing it. And all of it includes the higher minded perspective that you described in the very beginning, where you were, you know, appreciating how, what goes into the mind, what goes into the energy field, what the heart is feeling, where the mind is. The mind field needs to be clean and cleared too. This is all part of the bigger picture of it. We're not just trying to awaken and release waste in the body. We're awakening, releasing the residue of decades of misguided dysfunctional emotions, of a matrix field that has had us imprisoned in thoughts, conditionings, programs that have nothing to do with us and our well-being, and are actually antithetical to life, and are crippling us and making us forget about our physical aging is due significantly to our mental field, and to all that falseness, all that art, that huge artifice that's like a prison cell for our mind. So you have articulated it, but I want to just spotlight that you're doing all of those things. And that's what's making you glow. That's what's making you shine. That's what's bringing you into your fullness, and into the power that is connected to the divine. It's not, there's nothing external that's doing this. Your body's doing the healing. You've created the conditions for your body to do the healing. And because of all of that leaving that was never yours, that could finally leave because you've created those conditions, you're being switched on by your divine connection coming back online.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, over time, my palate has changed. So I think that for anyone that's just starting off, if it's really hard, like, just know that your palate will change, but you got to stick with it. And I think I was able to see the results, and that's what kept filling my fire, giving me fire to keep going. And then also listening to your audios. I mean, I surrounded myself with this intelligent information, this life force information on a daily, and that's what kept me going. And so, yeah, I don't know what to say, but the fact that everything that you said was right on point with my journey to where I'm at now. I'm still going through, I'm in my first year still, so I know there's still a lot I'm shedding away. I'm working on communication. I'm working on how to be more authentic in everything that I do. And this lifestyle is bringing me closer and closer to that clarity and the energy I need to gain that wisdom.
There's three things I want to say with that. So one is exactly what you're on right now. I want you to continue on to talk about what it's like when you get your next steps along the way. So you don't even need to know what they are. So what you're describing right now is that the journey, you're in the moment, you're doing everything correctly, and there's transformation happening on a day-to-day basis. But when you get further along the path, you know what needs to happen next. And nobody needs to tell you that. Your mastery is coming back online too. So you have a sense now of what you need to do with your next few days, because now you're at the point where you can see those next few days. And when I say those next few days, it's what your energy field, it's what your soul, it's what your spirit need next. And nobody needs to tell you that, because the intelligence in the being comes to know that as soon as the way is cleared for it to be seen, and it becomes seen because you're paying attention and you see it, right?
That's the most beautiful way of saying it. Yes, Natalia. It's like you put one foot in front of the other. You keep this routine of cleansing your body and the green juice and the dietetics that Natalia speaks about in her courses. And then little by little, I've been seeing one step in front of the other, one more step in front of me, one palette in front of the other, like magic. Okay, you're going here now, you're going here now. And then in that, I've become this magnet to the wonderful things that I need in my life, to and kind of creating prayers within myself through deep meditation, keeping myself in line. And it all starts with what you put into your body and how disciplined you are to stay on this path. And if you can stay disciplined, you'll find your purpose will align. I'll tell you, 2 years ago, I was depressed because I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I had just gotten married, and I knew that God had something more for myself than just being a married woman. Like, I definitely am someone that's very creative and wanted to put myself out there, but didn't know how. And through this process, I've been able to find myself. Not only am I cleansing my body, I've started my own business. I have been able to be around women that are truly empowering and to cut off any negative energies in my life that are not going to serve me. And it's been through this process that has put me on my path. So I just thank you so much, Natalia. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Oh my gosh, don't thank me. You've done all the hard work. You talk about having, when we think about fast food, we think about all of the MSG, the whatever chemicals they use to make this stuff addictive, which it so is. And of course, sugar is so addictive in and of itself, but anything that's acidic is going to be addictive. So essentially, you've got the starches, the fleshes, the sugars, and not to mention all the chemicals in the foods you were eating previously. And you talk about how your palate will change over time, but these foods, those previous foods, were highly, highly addictive. And when people hear the testimonies from people who have gone through this process, there's, I think, a little voice in the back of their minds thinking, like, I couldn't do this because I have such a hankering for these foods that I eat every day. And one of the things that I think the Enlightener is so powerful at doing is removing the residue from those foods, the addictive substances, so that the hankering for them is decreased almost immediately by comparison to trying to just quit eating those foods without removing their residue from the body. And that's a really big point. When you think about transitioning away from those foods that were so addictive, and now you're eating foods that are non-addictive, like how did that happen? And talk about the palate and talk about addiction.
I'm in my first year, so I've been able to kind of take like a science project and learn, okay, that doesn't feel good, so we're not going to do that again, But during this process, I've seen the more that I'm able to go straight for my green juice before I reach for something that's tempting, then I'm satisfied and I'm like, wow, okay, I don't even need that anymore. So whenever I feel like I want to reach for something that I know is not going to be for my best self, I reach for my green juice and then I instantly feel satisfied. And then doing the colonics, like you said, it takes away any residue. I feel like this was such a fast process for me, even though it did take me months. But with your tool, with the device, with the most amazing invention on the planet, um, the Enlightener, I've been able to kind of surpass symptoms that someone would normally feel if they were just doing enema, if they were just doing green juice. Because yeah, you're not going to be able to release all that awakening if you're not getting taking care of your colon and getting out and releasing the waste.
Right. You didn't. So one of those symptoms being addiction, that hankering for those things, that was alleviated because you were able to get it all out of you faster. And did you tell me, did you do enemas before you got the Enlightener?
I did do enemas before I got the Enlightener. I did enemas, and that was like my first introduction to enemas. Um,
And
and I was
they're great. I mean, until such time when you don't have another option. I mean, I never wanted, for people who don't have anything else right now, those home enemas are phenomenal. That was a stepping stone for you, and that was the perfect thing for you to put into place because you made progress with that, right?
I made tremendous progress. I think most of the weight that I lost was in that time was through my enema kit, and now everything else is like, wow, like it's just intense. It's I have like a professional colonic system in my house now, because of Natalia Rose.
But would you say that waste is weight and that weight is waste?
Totally, waste is weight, and waste is weight. So if you have a ton of weight, you got to get the waste out, and when you get the waste out, you'll feel more clear. You'll be able to be in your power.
What would you say to someone who's carrying a lot of extra weight or who's carrying extra weight, period? Maybe it's 5 or 10 pounds that's making them uncomfortable, or it's 105 pounds. What would you tell them?
I don't do the count calories thing. I live my life freely. I find myself in this type of lifestyle. I find myself living my life very freely. I'm able to have as much as I want, but I have the things that nourish my body versus creating parasites and things that are going to be feeding and taking away my energy. And the one thing I'll say is, talking about getting rid of those addictions. I was able to see like these energies inside of me that are the parasites, or whatever you want to call them, parasites, it's not me that's craving those things. It's those things. And I want to get those things out of me because I want to be myself. I want to be the best of my authentic self. So seeing that was big. Seeing that, oh wow, this is not me. This is not what I want, but my body's craving it. Okay, let me fight it. Let me get my warrior up, and that was one thing. Seeing those symptoms gave me clarity to be able to fight with my armor, with my green juice and my colonics. So to anyone that is struggling, it's all in here. It's all in here, and we have to awaken and release.
You don't have to struggle and suffer. I did it years before I figured out that this was the way. I know that sense of body loathing, of thinking that you're never going to get through the day, much less continue on a lifetime of having to check, your weight and your calories and all these things. And it never worked. It worked in a certain way, but never left you feeling vibrant. Always, would make you, well, certainly for me, it made me grumpy. It didn't make me a nicer person. It didn't make me a happier person. It didn't make me a more loving person. Whereas getting rid of the waste makes you happier, more vibrant, more loving, effortlessly at ease, just happy to be alive. A breath feels like nirvana. It just, it's a state of life. And people who don't do this don't understand that that's the way things can be. It can, the beauty of it is it brings so much ease. and which of course is the antidote to dis-ease. What would you tell anyone who felt that they can't do what you've done?
All you need is a little love and tenderness with yourself. Be graceful. You're going to fall off the horse, but just get back on, dude. You know, like it's really that simple. Like this life is, it's up to you. How, what do you want out of life? Do you want, you, this is our one life here. You know what I mean? Like, as far as we know, you have to get your life. I'll show you a picture of where I started. That was 276 pounds. And I was in a state of depression. I was, you know, but something clicked. And like I said, something, my higher self got through all those blockages and said, you're going to go through a metamorphosis right now and hang on tight. It's going to be okay. So trust yourself, give yourself goals, write things down, put up those dream boards. Those are the things that if you see every day are going to push you to your goals in life. And with Natalia's audios and videos, I was able to surround myself and immerse myself in this idea of taking care of your body and cleansing from within and becoming a magnet for the good things that you want in your life. So it's all baby steps. Be patient with yourself. If I can do it, this little Puerto Rican Dominican girl with arroz con gandules and pork and all this blocking my true self, stay in prayer and meditation, and God's source, whatever it is that you believe in, will bring you what you need, but you have to be clear-minded. So start with your body, start cleansing from within and releasing the waste. That's what I would say.
Beautifully stated. Tara, you are just a beacon of light. Is there anything else you want to share about your journey, about how it's impacted any other area of your life, or maybe symptoms that were relieved, things that you didn't expect, anything else that you think would be of value to share?
Yeah, I think in the beginning, your body kind of goes through change that you might be like, oh, what's going on? Just, you know, I would say, like, for me, I think like the first 2 weeks, I think I was getting a little bit, I don't know. I think the first 2 weeks, it was just that transformation, okay, of my body is cleansing now. I always drink green juice every day. But anytime that I was feeling like, oh, sluggish, I would I would have an enlightener session or an enema session. And shortly afterwards, maybe I would take a nap afterwards, but afterwards I would be high in my vibration, high in my energy, in the most creative state in my entire life. So it really is trusting the process. And like I said, if you fall off the horse, don't get down yourself. We are partially human, so we're going to have those survival ideas in our head that's going to be like, oh, you know, it's dangerous. No, you're doing this for yourself. You're doing this for your higher self.
Are you saying like the myths that you've heard from other people that would tell you that maybe you're not eating enough, or that's not normal to put water up to do, and those sorts of things?
This is a great topic, because I think this is something that people in our communities struggle with, is the family, the friends telling us, oh, we're not eating enough, or whatever the case may be. But actually, we're getting all the proper nutrients we need, and we're not going in heavy with digestion. We're able to save that energy for more beautiful, radiant skin, for that energy to go somewhere else to heal your body, because our bodies can heal itself, whether you know it or not. But we have to give it that space to heal itself. And through this process, you're giving your body the most beautiful recreational center to heal itself. And so by not having heavy digestion, by having a lighter digestion, that energy is able to be conserved and be put to better use, you want to say.
I love that idea of like, oh, we're creating a recreational center for the body. That's brilliant. That's very cool, Tara. I like that.
Yeah. And I know I'm going through, like I said, I want to be completely transparent, because I think that is good for people that are just starting this process. Like, I'm still in my first year. I think it was 4th of July weekend this past weekend. And I didn't stick to the dietetics. And the last few days I've been feeling it. And I was like, so I just want to let you know that no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm
That's
still
good. No,
going through it.
I'm going to interrupt you again because that's the wiring. I need to help even you get the wiring right, because the wiring is still perfect. Is eating perfectly? No, perfect is the biggest release, the biggest exit of waste you can create. So it's not, backsliding. Sometimes the backsliding is the best way. You said earlier, is to be reminded of, actually, as good as maybe I thought that was going to taste, it left me feeling terrible. I don't really need to go there anymore. I'm kind of over that. I didn't realize I was, but now I do. So that's a really good thing. But also, sometimes a little backslide, you can get away with it, frankly, because if you don't repeat things, I always tell people, like, do it once, fine, you probably get away with it. Do it twice in a row, you're probably not going to get away with it because the body's gotten to a point. But because you're not completely purified now, you can still get away with having things that we can call, Gil used to call it safe poisons. My mentor used to call it safe poisons, which kind of works. I don't thought of a better term. And just these things that, are maybe like the fish, the goat cheese, the wine, the dark chocolate. Maybe for some people it's high quality grains. And then sometimes you'll have the potato chips and the ice cream and I don't know, the cake or the pudding or whatever it is. And it's okay. Like, it's because in the big picture, you're releasing all this waste. It's kind of like my sensei, if I had to miss a training day or something, he's like, and I'd be like, oh, I'd be lamenting the fact. He'd be like, I tell you, like, you're training for life. It doesn't matter if you miss a day here or there. And that's the thing. You're doing this for life. It doesn't matter if it's not a mistake. It's not an imperfection. If in the bigger picture, you've gone from carrying all this waste to carrying half of that waste, because over the course of your lifestyle, the bigger picture is waste removal. It's not perfect eating, it's waste removal. So a little bit of things here and there doesn't matter, because if your green juice is always in the picture, at least most days, you might miss a handful of days a year or whatever, but no big deal. If the big picture is alkalinity is awakening waste and waste is leaving the body, that's all that matters. So forgive me for putting you in the hot seat in terms of like the rewiring, but I think everybody's going to benefit from being reminded of that, because if you lose sight of that, you wind up in the other camp, which is 90% or 99.9% of what people think the cleansing lifestyle is about, that it's not about, which is about being raw or being vegan or being raw vegan, like put it all together. It's like, oh, oy vey, but if they're not releasing waste, who cares? I mean, maybe we care because of the humanity toward the animals, the sort of, all those reasons, which are very good, valid reasons. I'm not discounting those. But if people are doing it for their bodies to heal and they're not releasing waste, I don't care how cleanly they're eating, they're not getting any better. If you put the most beautiful brand new drapes and organic rugs and the most gorgeous silks from I don't know where into that's not my forte, into a home that's full of rotting walls and waste that's never been taken out. I don't care how many beautiful, expensive, fabulous museum pieces you put in that house is going to stink, and it's not going to be a place that anyone is going to want to go. So it doesn't matter how perfectly you consume if the waste isn't leaving. And if the waste is leaving, it doesn't matter if it's imperfect. And that's the beauty of it.
Right. It doesn't matter. But I do find it interesting how I have turned myself into a science, kind of like a science, because I can now, when I have those foods, like I did this weekend, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do this again. And it gives me the strength to be around people and to do what I need to do to feel good. And so it just reminds me of like, okay, hey, that didn't feel good. And I know that this is, like I said, is the first year of my journey, really going in. But I know throughout time it's going to get better and better. I'm going to be more stronger and stronger in my power. And you're right, I'm never going back. I have surpassed even the clothes that were from high school. I've surpassed those clothes. So I got to get rid of a lot of things in my closet. And that's happening.
Girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So very excited to go shopping, but I still know I'm still shedding. So I'm like, when do I go shopping? I go shopping once a week and I buy like one thing and I'm like, okay, this will fit for this week and next week I got it, you know. So it's awesome.
Look, it's fun to watch that transformation, especially because you start to see curves. And I mean, the body is full of these gorgeous lines that, it's only when you release the waste, when you remove the waste, can you start to see that. So it's not about, how tiny can we be? It's more about how when we release this bloat and this obstruction, suddenly it's like, wow, look at the Fibonacci lines in the human body. Look at these gorgeous proportions that come on the scene. You start to look like this beautifully strung instrument. Are afraid to lose a great deal of weight because they think they're going to have to be surgically kind of restructured afterward because of all the loose skin. But with this way of doing it, the body's restoring its own integrity as you go.
Yeah, it totally is. I do find my workouts now from before, like I was doing a lot of cardio and yoga, and now I've incorporated some weights. But yeah, I haven't had any saggy skin through this process. So it's been like, wow, how can you get like this? How can you lose that amount of weight within that time frame and not have saggy skin?
I've seen you in a bikini, or in a very, very cute monokini with a whole lot of cutouts just a few days, like maybe a week ago, and your body looks amazing. It's all like the integrity. Like your torso, your midsection is phenomenal, and it's for all the weight you've lost, theoretically, it shouldn't look as good as it does, and it does. It looks amazing.
Thank you, Queen. But yes, I can't wait to keep going, and I'm really excited. I'm excited for the people around me too, because I know like it's not easy when you talk about it. People are like, "Oh, that's weird," but they have seen me transform, and now it's like, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I've been saying it, but it sounds a little, but it's not normal. It's not normal." But what's normal shouldn't be normal. Like,
do you find that when you tell people specifically what you do, when you really tell them the whole truth, the full truth, nothing but the truth, that they kind of are taken aback, that they or do they want to know more?
Totally. They're all for it in the beginning. They're like, "Yeah, what is it that you're doing? I want to do it." And then when I say, "Yeah, I'm a wazooer," so and they're like, "What does that mean?" And I'm like, I show them the water goes up.
Water goes into you, the wazoo into you.
It goes up the wazoo. Yes, that is what a wazooer is. Definition of a wazooer. And
if anyone's listening is like, well, what does she mean by wazoo? It's our way of kind of euphemistically putting the rear water receiver.
Yeah. We got to have fun with it because it really is something that brings so much life, and life is full of joy. So it does bring a lot of joy into my life.
You must have a really good sense of humor, but if you don't already have a good sense of humor, you will have a good sense of humor
totally
after you release through the wazoo. When the wazoo is clear and you have that wonderful sense of release, you tend to have a much better sense of humor.
Totally. And emotionally stable, I find in throughout my experience, more emotionally stable and more connected with the self.
So, and more to give, because you like having this overflow. Totally. And then I know I'm the lucky recipient of all your wonderful energy. I get my grand rising audios in the morning, not good morning, because good morning, it links us back to a morning, a sense of morning, right? This homonym word that's a bit odd. So I love that you say grand rising. So we should all be saying grand rising. It's the best.
Grand rising, grand day, grand sunshine. Because it is grand to be another day in this life, especially with a cleansed body. So thank you so much, Natalia, for bringing me on. And I know this is just the first one. I know the next interview that we have, I'll have some more treasures and some more findings for anyone that's going through this process. Because, like I said, I want to be completely transparent, and this has definitely changed my life. And I know if I can do it, you can do it. I come from not a great disciplined background, and this has taught me how to structure my life and have discipline in my life to get the things that I want. So yeah.
And that's your values, what you really want, which maybe you want to articulate, because a lot of people think they want things that don't actually bring them joy in the end. But you've discovered what does bring you joy. So when you say what it is that you want, would you be happy to share what that specifically is?
Yes, I want a life of freedom. I want a life of basking in the sun and being fully connected to myself and being able to hear my higher self and to feel at peace. And this has definitely given me that. I mean, wealth to me are those things, really. If I could be in my peace every day and being clear in my mind and being a magnet for beautiful, loving energy and giving to those that, and being able to connect with God and give the force inside of me to those people that need it, but also to retain my energy and stay in a creative state. That's my dream.
That's it. That's everything. That's everything. That's a great life, and that is a life of great wealth. I concur, and I fully share that with you. Tara, you're amazing. Thank you. You are pure sunshine. It's the sunflowers behind you that completely, they're, a perfect representation of you, and you are for them. And you are just an absolute shining light. Thank you for sharing everything you have with us. I know you've inspired everyone listening without a doubt. You're so gloriously beautiful in every way. I'm so happy that you're my friend, that we walk this path together, and we will do so for a very long time and more all the time.
Thank you, Natalia. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you so much.
All right, darling. Till next time, and until our grand rising tomorrow. Okay.
Perfect.
Bye, sweetheart.